plain text into an uncrackable fingerprint that guards secrets. It protects passwords, verifies identity, and quickly exposes tampering. Discover how hashing, salts, and digital signatures protect you. Hash basics in fingerprints. A student writes a secret message for a friend. Instead of sending the message, the student sends numbers. Those numbers are a hash of the original message. To get the hash, you use a one-way cryptographic hash function. Anyone who changes the message completely changes the fingerprint. Even a single character change creates a new fingerprint. No one can turn the fingerprint back into words. Take your fingerprint. You can't just make it from numbers. It just doesn't work that way. Same with a hash. Once you turn it into numbers, you can't turn it back like that. Digital signatures. One use of hash functions is digital signatures. A student sends a message to a classmate. A hash of the message is generated. The result of the hash is called a digest. The email application will encrypt the hash with the student's private key. The student is the only one with the private key. A digital signature is usually an attachment at the end of the message. The email client will verify the digital signature. It decrypts the digital signature with the public key. Digital signatures prove the source of the message, authentication. They ensure the sender cannot deny signing the message, non-repudiation. Password hashing. Websites use this idea to protect passwords. When you create a username and password, the site stores only the password's hash. When you log in, the site hashes your password and compares the fingerprint it has on file with the new hash. Hash storage allows systems to verify identity without storing real passwords. Hashing is a process that transforms plain text into fixed-length string text. The output of a cryptographic hash function, or hashing, is called a hash. Hash properties and collisions. To strengthen security, websites add random salts to the hash. Each user gets a different random salt value. Using a cryptographically secure pseudo-random number generator, C-Spring is a standard method for generating salt. Salt is added before the password is hashed. The site hashes the password plus the salt for every account. This method makes it hard for attackers to reuse giant rainbow tables effectively. Rainbow tables are lists of passwords mapped to hashes. Good hashes follow essential security requirements. Fast for integrity checks, slow for password hashing. Small input changes give completely different fingerprints. Different inputs rarely share the same fingerprint. At least we hope not. When they share the same fingerprint, it's called a collision. Collisions are possible in older or weak hash functions. Digests are irreversible, but can be brute forced. MD5. Old hashes such as MD5 were once strong, but are now a security concern. MD5 makes 128-bit fingerprints, but has collisions. A collision occurs when two different inputs produce the same hash. Attackers can craft different data that match the same MD5. Some sites. We're going to get the MD5 hash for password. PASSWORD123. Okay. Now let's get that hash. Here you can see 85967 blah 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 ends in 566. Let's go to the next page. Let's take a look. Same password. I copied it. Look, 86976 ends in 566. Boom. Same. Okay, let's copy it. Now we're going to go and decrypt it. Here we paste in 86976 566 decrypt. What do we have here? This is the password that we put in. So you can see we can brute force the hash, get the output. This is why older protocols such as MD5 are old and antiquated. Next, let's talk about SHA. SHA, another legacy hash, is SHA-1. SHA-1 improved length with 160-bit fingerprints, yet researchers found collisions in SHA-1 as well. Browsers and certificate authorities now reject SHA-1. One of the most common hashes today is SHA-2. specifically SHA-256. SHA-512 is used for higher security needs. SHA-2 uses longer fingerprints and stronger design than MD5. SHA-256 uses a 256-bit hash, while SHA-512 uses a 512-bit hash. Operating systems use SHA-256 for file integrity. The hash function strongly indicates the message was not changed. Websites use SHA-256 with salts to store passwords. You can validate downloads by comparing the hash listed in the documentation to the hash of what you actually downloaded. Let's drop the Kali Linux download here. It may take a little bit to download the file. Here you can see we got the hash output. From this side I uploaded the Kali file. And here we got the hash from it. So now we'll go over here to the page where we downloaded the file. And we'll check the sum. So here you can see it's a SHA-256, SHA-256. And we would expect it to start with 3B, 4A, 3A, which does. It ends in C266. Here on the screen you can see that the files match. So the file that we downloaded, untouched. It is what it says it is. Kelly says, hey, this is the file. Here we were able to ensure that the file is untampered with. Blockchains use SHA-256 to link and secure blocks. SHA-512 produces longer hash values, which provide greater security. And moving on to SHA-3, which continues the evolution with a new algorithm. The new design pattern is called a sponge construction. The sponge pads the message, then splits it into blocks. SHA-3 mixes the blocks in an absorbed phase. Next, the squeezing creates output bits. Imagine I have a sponge, I soaked up the water, and I'm squeezing it. These numbers are just falling out of the sponge. The squeezing repeatedly permutates and rearranges the internal state to reduce the output. Protocols are beginning to include SHA-3 as an alternative method. Bcrypt has built-in mechanisms to adjust the difficulty of hashing. This flexibility means it can grow with technology. Bcrypt takes a password. Let's see if we have her password saved still. Nope. Bcrypt takes a password, PASWORD123, and a salt, and uses the blowfish algorithm, and it produces a scrambled hash value. With Bcrypt, you choose how many rounds to hash or scramble it. I can use 10, 15, any number in here, right? So let's go ahead and we'll choose a lower number just so that it's a little bit faster, and we'll choose 7. Once we choose our cost factor, we'll go ahead and generate the hash. Now that I've generated my hash, you can see the digest at the bottom here. Bcrypt is 2 to the power of X rounds. The computational use of the rounds and storage is expensive. On the bright side, Bcrypt makes it harder to use rainbow tables and brute force attacks. Argon 2 takes us even further with even more customization. First, you choose your salt. Click the button there and we can get our salt. Then you decide how to leverage multiple CPUs with parallelism. We're going to keep it low just for the sake of the video. Then you can set up how much RAM you want to use. You can change it. It's nice and easy. Then you can set up how many iterations it's going to be. And finally, you determine the hash length. Then you run your hash. Well, first we got to put our password in there. So we got our Argon 2. Let me scroll down and we hit generate hash. Then you see our output. So here's our output in hex in our encoded form. It's pretty sweet, all the different options that you have here. So Argon 2 is a memory hard, configurable, parallel, and GPU resistant. It forces attacker to spend both time and money. GPUs and rigs struggle when the memory costs are high. In today's world, modern password managers are increasingly using Argon 2. Final thoughts. Hash is a one-way function. They are collision resistant. Hashes are stored instead of passwords. Digital signatures prove who sent the data. They verify file integrity. Hashes provide integrity, and encryption provides confidentiality. In the comments below, tell me, why are you learning about hash functions? And I'd like to thank you for watching.